I used to reject my masculinity unconsciously. And I truly realized that at the start of my 30s. And I was completely shocked when that realization came to me. The more I did healing work, the more it made sense. Long story short, I grew up in a very dysfunctional family environment. My father was mostly absent, and when he was present, he was pretty much heavily drunk and abusive, and he was dangerous. My mother, she was traumatized by her stepfather. She inherited also her mother's, my grandmother's, trauma of men, because the grandmother was also abused, and my mother raised me in a way that I would not harm any woman ever. And I remember I was, I don't know, like 5 years old, and I already felt this guilt towards myself that I was a boy, that I shared the same gender as my father, because my father showed up in extremely toxic way, narcissistic ways. And I was like, I had shame about myself, towards myself. And I made this decision that I would never, ever turn out like my father. As you can see, I developed huge resistance to masculinity from early childhood. And I grew up pretty much as a docile, castrate, people pleaser. When I started to review my past, what has happened, I started to realize more and more how much I have been relying solely on my feminine side, completely pushing away the healthy masculine expression, its healthy traits and qualities. For example, and this was specifically visible during my start of my awakening journey, when I was really into learning about spiritual stuff, and I found out about intuition, this huge superpower, and I thought, wow, that's really cool. I want to live like that, like being completely dependent on intuition. It's more efficient way, and yeah, I'll just listen to my intuition, and every other problems will be solved. I just need to receive. I just need to surrender. I just want to flow. And if I don't feel like doing something, then I don't need to do it. Can you see? It's like pure feminine. I was waiting for synchronicities. I was waiting for guidance from above. Being way too passive. Just waiting. And yeah, I was seeking confirmation. Is this the right thing to do? Am I on the right path? And that created lots of doubts. And that led me to feeling indecisive, disempowered, and also depressed, because I didn't take enough action. I didn't take my life into my own hands. I left it to some mystical creature who would guide me to my happiness. At some point I even thought that like taking massive action, taking too much action and using too much mind was ineffective. It was old consciousness. Wasn't cool. I remember when I was asked for the first time to participate in online course creation, to create lessons, I was completely like shut down. I wanted to create, but I couldn't. Like there was no creative juice running, and my masculine was completely shut down. It's like my mind couldn't function properly, and I was desperate. I really wanted to help, but I did not know how. It felt like as if I was cursed, like I couldn't do it. I really wanted to, but I couldn't understand what's the problem. Like, why am I not doing this? What's in the way? And this obviously, this rejection of masculine, unconscious rejection, it also of course destroyed my relationships completely. Disaster. The idea of leading a woman was cool. I loved it, but I couldn't do it in practice. And I was completely like devastated. I did not know how and what to do. I didn't have also like positive role model. So yeah, it was completely disaster. Now, I'm not the only one who has experienced this psychological castration. There are a lot of men out there who have been also rejecting their healthy masculine expression. And at the same time, there have also been lots of women who have been rejecting their healthy feminine. And this has led to the crossing of polarities and distortion of natural social dynamics, when women whose natural like essence is feminine have like completely gone to the masculine polarity, and vice versa, men becoming feminine, overly feminine. So what's the solution for men who have been rejecting their masculine? First, seek support. Healing is very beneficial, and shadow work can help. For example, because it deals with resistances. And if men have been rejecting their masculine, then that means that they have part or even multiple parts sometimes that are in opposition to their true, healthy, divine masculine expression. And so shadow work can help to resolve this internal conflict. It can also help to resolve internal conflict when it comes to taking action, because we might also have some internal parts that are against taking action and perceive that as danger, as threat. Second thing is invest in becoming aware of your emotions and beliefs. What unmet needs hide behind your emotions? Every time an emotion gets triggered, it's a signal about unmet need. What do you need in that moment? And when we find out, action is the most direct expression of our desires. fulfilling them. Third thing, regularly check in with your thinking. How is it reflecting your self-perception? How is it reflecting your view on life? Awareness can greatly enhance our transformation, because when we become aware, in that moment we have choice that we can decide, no, I'm going to think and do differently. I'm going to transcend this old set of belief or old identity. I have free will to do so. Fourth, start taking action, because through action we step into our masculine polarity, and through action we overcome the initial resistance. Now, taking action is very important, because by doing so we gain feedback, and through feedback we have opportunity to improve, and when we improve, our confidence rises. It is like a positive, self-reinforcing spiral of improvement. Now, taking action also means facing your fears directly. I remember I was terrified of doing new things, whether it was creating a course content, calling prospects, enrolling, coaching people one-on-one or in groups, organizing online events, that kind of stuff. I was freaking terrified. The lesson for me in that moment was not to yield to the pressure of fear, but do it anyway. And repetition helps in this moment, because the more we start to do this thing that initially caused lots of fear, over time the fear goes down, because it's not scary anymore, because we get used to it more and more and more and more. The longer we yield to the fear, the more we keep feeding this negative momentum, and we reinforce it to repeat. And this is very damaging to us, our self-perception, and this causes feeling of depression, disempowerment, and so it's important to start to turn around that momentum. Thank you for watching, and let me know your feedback on this topic. It really means a lot to me. I'll see you in the next video.